Listen, this world does not care about your feelings. It does not pause because you are tired. It does not reward potential. It only rewards who shows up every single day. You say you want more, a better life, a stronger body, a sharper mind, respect, freedom. But wanting means nothing. Everyone wants. Discipline is what separates the talkers from the warriors. Discipline is choosing pain now so you don't suffer forever. Discipline is doing the work when nobody is watching, when nobody is clapping, when nobody believes in you, especially when nobody believes in you. You think pain is your enemy. It's not. Pain is the price of growth. Pain is the signal. Pain is the teacher. Pain tells you that you are alive. Pain tells you that you are pushing past weakness. Pain tells you that you are becoming someone new. Comfort makes you soft. Comfort makes you slow. Comfort kills dreams quietly. Pain forges strength loudly. Every warrior is built in silence, in early mornings, in late nights, in empty gyms, in lonely roads. While others sleep, you work. While others complain, you sharpen. While others quit, you continue. That is discipline, not motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. Let me tell you something real. You will fail. You will fall. You will doubt yourself. There will be days when your mind screams, stop, rest, give up. Those are the moments that matter. Because champions are not made on good days. They are made on dark days, heavy days, painful days, days when quitting feels logical, and you choose to move anyway. One step, one rep, one breath. That choice builds belief. Self-belief is not magic. It is built, brick by brick, action by action. You don't believe in yourself because you talk big. You believe in yourself because you keep promises to yourself. When you say, I will wake up at 5, and you do. When you say, I will train even when I'm tired, and you do. When you say, I will not quit, and you don't. That's how belief is born, not from words, from evidence. Weak minds look for excuses. Strong minds look for solutions. Weak minds ask, why is this happening to me? Strong minds ask, what is this trying to teach me? You were not given a hard life by accident. You were built for pressure. Pressure creates diamonds. Pressure creates warriors. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But you are not everyone. There is a version of you that wakes up early, trains hard, thinks clearly, moves with confidence, and does not break under stress. That version already exists, but you must earn it by choosing discipline over comfort, by choosing pain over pleasure, by choosing long-term respect over short-term relief. No one is coming to save you. Read that again. No one is coming, no mentor, no shortcut, no miracle. It's you, your habits, your choices, your standards. Raise your standards. Stop negotiating with weakness. Stop waiting to feel ready. Warriors move even when afraid. You don't need confidence first. Confidence comes after action. You act, you suffer, you survive. Then confidence follows. Then belief grows. Then identity changes. You stop saying, I'm trying. You start saying, I do. Discipline hurts. Yes, it hurts to wake up early. It hurts to train when sore. It hurts to say no to distractions. It hurts to stay focused. But regret hurts more. Living small hurts more. Watching others win hurts more. Knowing you quit hurts more. Choose your pain, temporary pain or permanent regret. Every day is a battle. Your mind versus your goals, your fear versus your future, your excuses versus your potential. Understand this. Your mind will try to protect you from discomfort, not from failure. That's why discipline must be stronger than emotion. You don't ask how you feel. You ask what must be done, and then you do it. You are not tired. You are undisciplined. You are not unmotivated. You are distracted. You are not weak. You are untrained. And training starts now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Stand up straight. Breathe deep. Look forward. This path is not easy. It was never meant to be, but it will make you dangerous. Dangerous to doubt, dangerous to fear, dangerous to mediocrity. And one day you will look back at the pain, the sweat, the lonely nights, and you will smile because you didn't quit, because you became disciplined, because you believed when it was hardest to believe, because you chose the warrior path. Now go. Train your body, harden your mind, protect your belief, and remember this: pain is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Self-belief is unstoppable. Stay hard. Stay focused. Stay relentless. Listen carefully. Life will knock you down. Not once, not twice, many times. And every time you fall, you will hear a voice. Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you should stop. That voice is fear. Not true. Fear sounds logical. Fear sounds reasonable. Fear sounds safe. But fear keeps you small. Let me tell you something powerful. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how you respond. Anyone can win when things are easy. But can you fight when you're embarrassed, when you're broke, when you're tired, when nobody believes in you? That's where greatness begins. There will be a moment in your life where everything feels lost. Your progress disappears, your confidence shakes, your energy drops, and in that moment, you have two choices: quit or rebuild. Rebuilding is painful because you must accept that you are not where you want to be. You must swallow your ego, face your weakness, start again from zero. But listen, starting from zero with experience is not starting from zero. It's starting from wisdom. The comeback is always stronger than the setback. Why? Because now you understand. You understand your mistakes. You understand your limits. You understand your distractions. And now you move smarter. This time you don't chase hype. You build habits. This time you don't talk big. You move silently. This time you don't depend on motivation. You depend on systems. Wake up. Work. Improve. Repeat. Every day. Your comeback will not be loud. It will be quiet. People will not clap. They will not notice. And that is your advantage. Silence builds power. Every setback is training. Every rejection is sharpening. Every failure is preparation. You are not behind. You are being prepared. One day, the same people who doubted you will ask, "How did you do it?" And you will smile because they didn't see the early mornings, the self-doubt, the discipline, the rebuilding. They only see the result. But you know the truth. You earned it. The comeback mindset means you don't stay down. You don't complain. You don't blame. You adapt. You adjust. You attack again, stronger, wiser, hungrier. Remember this. Your story is not over because you failed. It is over when you stop trying. So stand up again and again and again until the world has no choice but to respect your persistence. That is the comeback mindset. You are not finished. You are rebuilding, and rebuilding creates legends. Nobody talks about this part, the lonely part, the part where no one checks on you, no one encourages you, no one notices your effort. This is where most people quit. You wake up early. The world is asleep. No applause, no motivation, just silence and discipline. The lonely grind is not glamorous. It's repetitive, boring, painful. Same routine, same struggle, same doubts, day after day. This is where character is built, not in crowds, not on social media, not when people are watching, but when it's just you and the work. You will question yourself here. Is this worth it? Is anyone even noticing? Am I wasting my time? Yes, you will ask. Everyone does, but listen carefully. The lonely grind is a filter. It removes the weak. It removes the fake. It removes the ones who only wanted comfort. What remains is dangerous. While others chase comfort, you chase growth. While others scroll, you sharpen. While others sleep, you build. That gap, that distance, that's the advantage. One day, your results will speak, and people will say, "You're lucky." They didn't see the loneliness. They didn't feel the doubt. They didn't walk the silent road. Only you did. The lonely grind creates monsters, not angry monsters, disciplined ones, focused ones, unbreakable ones. So if you feel alone, good. That means you're on the right path. Stay there. Work harder. Stay silent. Your future self is watching and thanking you. Procrastination is not laziness. It is fear in disguise. You are not avoiding the task. You are avoiding discomfort. You say, "I'll start tomorrow." Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. And suddenly, your dream is a memory. Procrastination feels safe. It gives temporary relief, but it steals your future. Slowly, silently. Understand this. Your brain wants comfort. It wants easy dopamine, scrolling, entertainment, distraction. Growth feels dangerous. That's why you delay it. The moment you feel resistance, that's the moment you must act, not later, now. Do the hard thing first, before your brain negotiates, before your excuses wake up, before your comfort wins. Attack early. You don't need motivation, you need action. Action creates momentum. Momentum kills procrastination. Break your goals into smaller parts. Don't say, "I will change my life." Say, "I will work 20 minutes." Just 20. That's it. Once you start, resistance fades. The hardest part is beginning. Stop waiting to feel ready. You will never feel ready. You act first. Confidence follows. Procrastination is self-betrayal. Every time you delay, you break trust with yourself. And self-trust is power. From today, no countdown, no delay, no overthinking. Move immediately. You don't destroy procrastination with motivation. You destroy it with execution. Daily, relentless, unemotional execution. That is how winners operate. They don't feel like it. They do it anyway.
Now, Story 5, Build Unbreakable Confidence.
Confidence is not loud. It is quite certain. It is not shouting. It is known. Most people think confidence comes from winning. It doesn't. It comes from surviving, from failing, and not quitting. Confidence is built every time you do something hard, every time you keep your word, every time you face fear. That's where it grows. You don't wake up confident. You train into it, just like a muscle. Repetition, discomfort, consistency. The reason you lack confidence is simple. You don't trust yourself. And you don't trust yourself because you break promises to yourself. Fix that. Start small. Say, "I will wake up early," and do it. Say, "I will train today," and do it. Every completed promise adds one brick. brick by brick, you build identity. Not fake confidence, real confidence, the kind that doesn't shake when life gets hard. Stop comparing yourself. Confidence dies in comparison. Focus on progress, yesterday versus today. That's it. Do something every day that scares you. Speak up, take a risk, post the video, start the project. Fear shrinks when faced. Confidence is action-based, not thought-based. You don't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. One day, you will walk into rooms and feel calm, not because you are better, but because you know you can handle anything. That is unbreakable confidence, built through discipline, forged in discomfort, strengthened in silence. You don't wait for it, you build it, starting today. Your life changes the moment your identity changes, not your goals, not your motivation, your identity. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe you are. If you believe you are average, you will behave averagely. If you believe you are disciplined, you will act in a disciplined manner. Stop saying, "I'm trying." Say, "I am becoming." Identity is built through repetition. Every action casts a vote. Every habit shapes who you are. Skip the workout. You vote for weakness. Finish the workout. You vote for strength. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your identity. So upgrade it. Instead of saying, "I want to be confident," say, "I am building confidence daily." Instead of, "I want to be disciplined," say, "I am a disciplined person." At first, it feels fake, but repetition makes it real. Action makes it solid. Consistency makes it permanent. The moment you change your identity, decisions become easier because you ask, "What would a disciplined man do?" And then you do that. Identity removes negotiation. It removes excuses because that's not who you are anymore. You don't quit because quitters are not your identity. You don't procrastinate because action is your identity. Shift your identity. Shift your life. From today, you are not someone who tries. You are someone who executes. You are someone who grows. You are someone who finishes. That is the identity shift. And once it happens, there is no going back. Most people live their entire lives at 99%. 99% effort, 99% commitment, 99% discipline, and they wonder why their results look average. They wonder why they feel stuck, why success feels close, but never fully theirs. Why aren't they always almost there? The answer is simple. They stopped at 99, the last 1%. That is where separation happens. That is where identity shifts. That is where ordinary becomes rare. 99% feel complete. It feels good. It feels respectable. You finished the workout. You completed the assignment. You practiced the skill. You showed up. But you stopped when it started to hurt. You stopped when it became uncomfortable. You stopped when it required something extra. That extra is the last 1%. The last 1% is not dramatic. It's not loud. It's not a big heroic moment. It is small. It is quiet. It is invisible. And that is why most people ignore it. The last 1% is the extra rep when your muscles are shaking. It is reviewing your work one more time when you are already tired. It is staying focused for 10 more minutes when your mind wants distraction. It is waking up when the alarm rings instead of negotiating. It is finishing strong instead of just finishing. The world does not reward effort. It rewards outcomes. And outcomes are decided in the final margins. in the final inch, in the final detail, in the final push. Think about it. In a race, the difference between first and second is often less than a second. In business, the difference between average and elite is often a small improvement in consistency. In life, the difference between regret and pride is often one decision made in a hard moment. That decision is the last 1%. The last 1% is where excuses die, because at 99%, your mind says, you've done enough. You deserve rest. You can relax now. And logically, that sounds fair, but greatness is not logical. Greatness is decided when you go beyond fairness. The last 1% is not about doing more forever. It's about doing more when it matters most. It's about finishing your sets properly, closing your tasks completely, following through fully. It's about standards. Most people lower their standards quietly. They accept good enough. They accept almost. They accept close. But close is not complete. Almost is not achieved. Good enough is unforgettable. The last 1% is what makes work excellent instead of the average. It's the polish, the refinement, the attention to detail, the extra preparation, the final check, the last repetition, the final breath before quitting, where you choose to continue. That 1% builds something inside you, not just better results, better identity, because every time you push beyond comfort, you send yourself a message. I don't stop early. I finish strong. I go beyond average. And that message becomes belief. Belief becomes identity. Identity becomes habit. Habit becomes destiny. The last 1% is uncomfortable because it requires energy when you feel empty. It requires focus when you feel distracted. It requires discipline when you feel lazy. And that's exactly why it works. Because most people will not do it. The last 1% is lonely. No one applauds it. No one posts about it. No one even notices it. But you notice, and that is enough. When others celebrate early, you refine. When others relax, you improve. When others say that's enough, you ask, what else can I sharpen? That question alone separates you. The last 1% mindset is not obsession. It is precision. It is care. It is finishing details. It is refusing to leave potential unused. Imagine two people training. Both work hard. Both sweat. Both show up consistently. But one stops when it gets painful. The other pushes one more set, one more sprint, one more repetition. After a year, that tiny difference becomes massive, not because of one day, but because of accumulation. The last 1% compounds, daily, silently, relentlessly. Success is not built in giant leaps. It is built in margins, tiny edges, small improvements, slight adjustments, and those small edges stack over time. The last 1% also applies to character. It's telling the truth when lying would be easier. It's keeping your promise when breaking it would be convenient. It's staying disciplined when no one is watching. That is moral excellence. That is personal integrity. That is rare. Most people want big change, but they ignore small discipline. They want transformation without refinement, but refinement is transformation. The last 1% mindset means you reread the page, you review the plan, you check your form, you sharpen your skills, you ask better questions, you demand better from yourself, not because someone told you, but because that is who you are becoming. At first, it feels unnecessary. It feels exhausting. It feels like overkill. But over time, it feels normal because your standard rises. And when your standard rises, your life follows. The last 1% is emotional control. It's holding your temper when anger rises. It's staying calm when pressure increases. It's responding wisely instead of reacting quickly. That control changes outcomes. It's also a focus. Staying present when distraction calls. Staying locked in when boredom creeps in. Finishing the chapter, finishing the task, finishing the mission. Most people start strong. Few finish strong. Even fewer finish stronger than they started. That is the last 1%. When you adopt this mindset, you stop competing with average. You stop comparing yourself to the crowd because the crowd does not operate at this level. They operate at enough. You operate at complete. The last 1% builds quiet confidence because you know something others don't. You know that you did everything. You left nothing undone. You pushed when it was hard. You finished when it was tempting to stop. That knowledge is power. Power is not loud. It is calm certainty. It is walking into rooms without needing validation. Because you trust your effort. You trust your preparation. You trust your standards. The last 1% also protects you from regret. Because regret is born in unfinished effort. In I could have. In I should have. In I almost did. But when you give that extra push, you eliminate doubt, you eliminate what-ifs, you replace them with certainty. And certainty is peaceful. This mindset is not about burning out. It is about finishing correctly. It is about respecting your potential. It is about honoring your goals. It is about becoming precise with your life. When others are tired, you are disciplined. When others are distracted, you are focused. When others are satisfied, you are sharpening, not out of ego, out of principle, because you understand something powerful. Greatness lives in the last 1%, not in the first 99. So from today, do not stop early. Do not cut corners. Do not lower your standard. Finish strong. Polish the detail. Add the extra effort. Make the final adjustment. Stay 10 minutes longer. Push one more rep. Read one more page. Refine one more skill. Because that final margin, that invisible edge, that quiet decision is where champions are built. The world will never see most of your last 1% effort, but one day they will see the results, and they will call it talent. They will call it luck. They will call it natural ability, but you will know the truth. It was the margin. It was the detail. It was the extra. It was the last 1%. Adopt this mindset, and average will never touch you again. You will operate differently, think differently, finish differently, live differently. And once you mastered the last 1%, you don't just improve, you separate, you elevate, you become rare, and rare people win. There is a version of you that the world has never seen, not because it doesn't exist, but because it hasn't been built yet, and it won't be built in comfort. It won't be built in applause. It won't be built when everything is easy. It will be built in the dark. The dark is where transformation begins, not physical darkness, but the moments no one witnesses. The early mornings when your alarm rings and no one would blame you for sleeping. The late nights when exhaustion wraps around you and quitting feels logical. The silent battles in your mind when doubt whispers louder than belief. That is the dark. The dark is uncomfortable. It strips away ego. It removes distractions. It exposes weakness. And that's why most people avoid it. They chase noise. They chase validation. They chase attention. But strength grows in silence. When no one is watching, who are you? When there is no audience, no praise, no recognition, do you still move? Do you still improve? Do you still push? That answer determines everything. The dark tests your identity, because in the light, it's easy to look strong. In front of people, it's easy to act disciplined. When results are visible, it's easy to stay motivated. But when progress is invisible, that is where truth is revealed. Progress in the dark feels slow. It feels unnoticed. It feels like effort without reward. But what you don't see is what's forming underneath. Roots grow before trees rise. Steel is forged before it shines. Muscle tears before it strengthens. You break before you rebuild. The dark is not punishment. It is preparation. It is a construction. It is refinement. It is where your future self is being assembled, piece by piece, habit by habit, decision by decision. There will be nights when you question your path, when you look at others who seem ahead, when comparison creeps in, when doubt becomes heavy. That is part of the process, because darkness forces reflection. It forces you to ask, why am I doing this? Who am I becoming? What do I truly want? Clarity is born in isolation, not in chaos, not in distraction, but in silence. And silence feels uncomfortable for those who fear themselves. In the dark, you meet your weaknesses, your procrastination, your excuses, your laziness, your fear, and you can no longer blame circumstances. You can no longer blame other people. You can no longer hide. It is just you and truth. That confrontation is powerful because once you see your weakness clearly, you can train it. You can discipline it. You can overcome it. Most people run from discomfort, but you must learn to sit with it, to breathe through it, to stay present in it, because discomfort is a doorway, and on the other side of that door is growth. The dark also builds emotional control. When things are uncertain, when outcomes are unclear, when results are delayed, you learn patience. You learn resilience. You learn to operate without instant reward. And that ability makes you dangerous. Dangerous not in aggression, but in endurance. Because the person who can suffer quietly and continue moving cannot be stopped easily. In the dark, there are no shortcuts. There are no filters. There are no highlight reels. There is only repetition, routine, relentless consistency. Wake up, work, improve, repeat. Even when it feels meaningless, the dark teaches you something powerful. You are not your emotions. You are not your temporary mood. You are not your doubt. You are your actions. And your actions can be controlled. There will be moments when you feel like nothing is changing, when the scale doesn't move, when the results don't show, when the recognition doesn't come. That is when most quit, because humans crave visible progress. But transformation is internal first, external second. In the dark, you are building internal power, confidence, discipline, identity, standards. And when those foundations are strong, results become inevitable. Understand this. Light exposes. Darkness develops. In the spotlight, you perform. In the shadows, you prepare. And preparation determines performance. Every champion was built in unseen hours. Every leader faced silent struggles. Every success story has chapters no one talks about. Chapters of loneliness, of doubt, of fear, of rebuilding. If you're in the dark right now, good. That means you are in construction mode. It means you are being tested. It means you are being shaped. Do not rush it. Do not escape it. Use it. Use the silence to sharpen your focus. Use the solitude to define your standards. Use the struggle to strengthen your will. Use the delay to deepen your patience. There is a shift that happens when you stop fearing the dark, when you stop asking, "When will this be over?" and start asking, "What can I build here?" That question changes everything, because suddenly the dark becomes an advantage while others wait for perfect conditions. You operate in imperfect ones. While others need motivation, you rely on discipline. While others need validation, you rely on purpose. Purpose keeps you steady when emotions fluctuate. It keeps you grounded when progress is invisible. It keeps you moving when results are delayed. The dark strengthens your standards because when no one is watching, your standards are the only thing guiding you. Not applause, not fear, not pressure, just a principle. And principle builds integrity. Integrity builds confidence. Confidence builds presence. Presence builds impact. One day, the light will come. Opportunities will appear. Results will show. People will notice. And they will think it happened suddenly. They will think it was fast. They will think it was easy. But you will know the truth. It was built in the dark. Every early morning, every disciplined decision, every ignored distraction, every extra effort, every silent sacrifice, every moment you choose growth over comfort, that is where your strength was created, not in celebration, in isolation. So do not fear the dark season. Do not rush the quiet phase. Do not resent the invisible work, because that is where your foundation is forming, and foundations determine height. If you skip the dark, your success will be fragile. If you embrace the dark, your success will be solid, unshakable, grounded, real. The dark is not forever. It is a phase. But what you build there lasts far beyond it. So when it feels lonely, keep working. When it feels slow, keep refining. When it feels uncertain, keep trusting the process, because the strongest version of you is not created in comfort. It is built in the dark, quietly, patiently, relentlessly. And when the light finally hits you, you won't just shine. You will stand firm, unmoved, unshaken, unbreakable. You were not meant to be comfortable. You were meant to be forged. And forging happens in fire, in pressure, in darkness. So step into it willingly. Stay there courageously. Build there intentionally. Because the world will see the light, but only you will know what it took in the dark. There is something more powerful than motivation, more powerful than talent, more powerful than even discipline. It is your standard. Your standard is the invisible line you refuse to fall below. It is the minimum you accept from yourself, not from others, from yourself. Most people set goals. Very few set standards. Goals are targets. Standards are identity. Goals can be delayed. Standards must be lived daily. When your standard is low, you negotiate. You negotiate with your alarm clock. You negotiate with your workout. You negotiate with your focus. You negotiate with your promises. And slowly, your life becomes a series of compromises. But when your standard is relentless, there is no negotiation. There is no debate. There is no emotional voting system. There is only action. A relentless standard means you show up even when tired. You execute even when unmotivated. You focus even when distracted. You finish even when uncomfortable, because that is who you are, not what you feel. Most people operate based on feelings. If I feel good, I work. If I feel motivated, I train. If I feel inspired, I create. But feelings are unstable. They change with the weather, with sleep, with mood, with circumstances. If your performance depends on feelings, It will always fluctuate. Standards remove fluctuation. Standards remove excuses. Standards remove emotional dependency because standards are not emotional. They are structural. Imagine two people. One says, "I'll try my best." The other says, "I don't miss." One hopes. The other decides. One negotiates. The other executes. Over time, that difference becomes massive. A relentless standard is quiet. It does not need to announce itself. It does not need validation. It does not need attention. It simply operates daily, consistently, unemotionally. Standards shape habits. Habits shape identity. Identity shapes destiny. And destiny is not luck. It is an accumulated behavior. The moment you raise your standard, your environment changes, your circle changes, your schedule changes, your conversations change, because low standards cannot survive around high standards. When your standard is relentless, you become allergic to mediocrity. Late becomes unacceptable. Excuses become embarrassing. Half effort becomes uncomfortable. You start feeling resistance toward anything below your level, and that resistance protects your growth. But raising your standard is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront the truth. You must ask yourself, what have I been tolerating? What have I been allowing? Where have I been average? Where have I been lazy? Where have I been inconsistent? Truth hurts, but it also clarifies, and clarity is powerful. A relentless standard does not mean perfection. It means consistency. It means no 0 days. It means no broken promises. It means when you say something, you follow through. Self-trust is built when your actions match your words. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Without it, you hesitate, you doubt, you question yourself. With it, you move decisively. Most people lower their standards quietly. They justify it. It's okay, I'm tired. It's okay just today. It's okay, I'll restart tomorrow. And those small allowances become patterns. Patterns become identity. Identity becomes outcome. But when your standard is relentless, you restart immediately. You correct immediately. You adjust immediately. You do not wait for Monday. You do not wait for next month. You do not wait for motivation. You fix it now. Relentless standards create momentum because you stop falling behind. You stop breaking rhythm. You stop starting over. And when you stop starting over, progress accelerates. High standards also create internal peace because you know you are giving your best. Not sometimes, not occasionally, consistently. And consistency removes guilt. It removes regret. It removes internal conflict. There is something powerful about knowing you did not cut corners, that you did not quit early, that you did not settle. That feeling is strength. A relentless standard affects everything: your health, your work, your mindset, your relationships. Because you begin expecting more, not arrogantly, but intentionally. You stop accepting toxic habits. You stop accepting lazy effort. You stop accepting disrespect because you no longer tolerate what does not align with your standards. And yes, people will notice. Some will be inspired. Some will be intimidated. Some will be uncomfortable. Because high standards expose low ones. Do not lower your level to make others comfortable. Raise your level to make yourself proud. The world respects standards, even if it resists them at first, because deep down, everyone admires discipline. Everyone admires consistency. Everyone admires someone who does what they say. A relentless standard means you train even when progress is slow. You study even when results are delayed. You create even when no one is watching. You refine even when it feels repetitive. You finish even when it is boring. Because you understand something powerful. Your future is built on your minimum, not your maximum. Your minimum daily standard determines your trajectory. If your minimum is high, your life rises. If your minimum is average, your life stabilizes. If your minimum is low, your life declines. So raise your minimum. Raise what you accept from yourself. Raise what you consider normal. Make discipline normal. Make the focus normal. Make execution normal. When discipline becomes normal, success becomes predictable. You do not need extreme motivation. You need extreme consistency. And consistency comes from a standard. There will be days when everything feels heavy, when pressure builds, when distractions multiply, when fatigue whispers. That is when your standard speaks, not loudly, but firmly. This is what we do. No drama, no debate, no emotion, just execution. A relentless standard removes identity confusion. You no longer ask, should I train? You train. You no longer ask, should I focus? You focus. You no longer ask, should I quit? You continue. Because that is your standard. Standards create freedom. Freedom from overthinking. Freedom from doubt. Freedom from emotional chaos. Because your behavior is already decided. Most people think freedom means flexibility. But true freedom comes from structure, from self-control, from reliability, from becoming someone who can depend on themselves. Raise your standards so high that quitting feels foreign. Raise it so high that laziness feels uncomfortable. Raise it so high that mediocrity feels painful. And then protect it. Protect it daily. Guard it from distraction. Guard it from compromise. Guard it from convenience. Because once your standard rises, your life follows. Your posture changes. Your presence changes. Your confidence deepens. Your results compound. And one day, people will ask you how you became disciplined. How did you become focused? How did you become consistent? And you will not talk about motivation. You will not talk about hacks. You will not talk about luck. You will say something simple. I raised my standard, and that changed everything. From today, do not rely on emotion. Do not rely on hype. Do not rely on inspiration. Rely on your standard. Build it. Define it. Live it, protect it, enforce it, daily, relentlessly, because in the end, you do not rise to your goals, you fall to your standards. So make your standard unstoppable, make it non-negotiable, make it relentless. An average will never touch you again. There is a war happening, not outside, not in the streets, not in your job, not in your environment. The real war is inside your mind. Every single day, you wake up to a silent opponent. It knows your fears. It knows your weaknesses. It knows your patterns. It knows exactly how to stop you because it is you. Your mind is powerful. It can build empires. It can create discipline. It can generate focus. But it can also destroy momentum, create doubt, manufacture excuses, and justify mediocrity. Your mind wants comfort. It wants safety. It wants certainty. It wants pleasure. It wants ease. But growth requires discomfort, and that is where the conflict begins. When the alarm rings at 4:30 a.m., your mind whispers, sleep. You deserve rest. Tomorrow is fine. It sounds logical. It sounds reasonable. It sounds kind, but it is weakness disguised as compassion. When you face a difficult task, your mind suggests distraction. Check your phone. Take a break. You'll work better later. It feels harmless, But every delay strengthens resistance. Your mind is not evil. It is protective. It is wired to avoid pain. But success requires voluntary pain. And that is why you must learn control. Mental warfare is not about silencing your mind. It is about mastering it. Because if you don't control your thoughts will control your life. Every time you hesitate, there is a battle. Every time you procrastinate, there is a battle. Every time you doubt yourself, there is a battle. The question is not whether the war exists. The question is, who is winning? Most people lose quietly. They listen to every thought. They believe every emotion. They obey every impulse. They never question their inner voice. And slowly, they become prisoners of their own thinking. But warriors think differently. They observe their thoughts. They challenge them. They separate emotion from action. They ask, is this voice protecting me or limiting me? There is a version of you that acts despite fear, and there is a version of you that hides behind it. Both exist inside your mind. Both are loud, but only one should lead. The first rule of mental warfare: not every thought deserves obedience. Your mind will suggest quitting. Your mind will suggest comfort. Your mind will suggest shortcuts. You must learn to respond with command. When your mind says, I'm tired, you respond, move anyway. When it says, this is too hard, you respond, hard builds me. When it says, you're not ready, you respond, action prepares me. Control is built through repetition. The more you override weakness, the weaker it becomes. The more you obey discipline, the stronger it grows. Your brain adapts to your decisions. Mental toughness is not genetic. It is trained. It is built every time you choose discomfort over convenience. Every time you delay gratification, every time you focus instead of escaping, your mind will create stories. Stories about why it's not the right time. Why do you need more preparation? Why are others better? Why you should wait. But stories are not facts. They are narratives, and you can rewrite them. When fear appears, do not suppress it. Face it. Analyze it. Understand it. Fear is often exaggerated, a projection, a worst-case scenario amplified by imagination. Your mind exaggerates risk, but rarely calculates regret. It focuses on short-term discomfort, not long-term consequence. That is why you must think beyond emotion. Mental warfare also requires silence, because noise strengthens weakness, distraction feeds avoidance, social comparison feeds insecurity, information overload feeds confusion, silence strengthens clarity. Spend time alone with your thoughts, without music, without scrolling, without escape, just you and your mind. At first, it will feel uncomfortable because you will hear everything you've been avoiding, but that confrontation builds awareness, and awareness builds control. Your thoughts are patterns, and patterns can be changed. If you constantly think, I'm not disciplined, your behavior will match it. If you constantly think, I always quit, you will. But if you begin to think, I execute, I finish, I move, your actions will slowly align. Identity controls behavior, and identity is shaped by internal dialogue. So guard your thoughts carefully, because the words you repeat internally become belief. Mental warfare is also about emotional control. You will feel anger, frustration, jealousy, impatience, doubt. But emotion does not require action. You can feel something and still choose discipline. That separation is power. Imagine your mind as a wild animal. If left untrained, it runs anywhere. It reacts to everything. It seeks comfort constantly, but with structure, with repetition, with correction, it becomes focused, reliable, strong. The strongest people are not emotionless. They are controlled. They feel deeply, but they act strategically. Mental warfare means questioning yourself. When you feel like quitting, ask, is this fatigue or weakness? When you feel unmotivated, ask, do I need rest or discipline? When you feel fear, ask, what am I avoiding? Self-questioning builds awareness. Awareness builds command. There will be days when your mind feels heavy, when negative thoughts repeat, when doubt seems louder than belief. That is not failure. That is resistance. And resistance means you are growing. The mind resists expansion. It prefers familiarity. Even if familiarity is mediocre, growth feels threatening to it. So it pushes back. Hard. That pushback is the test. If you surrender, old patterns return. If you persist, new identity forms. Mental warfare also requires boundaries. What you consume shapes what you think, what you watch, what you read, who you listen to, who you spend time with. Guard your inputs, because they become internal voices. Do not let weak opinions live rent-free in your mind. Do not let criticism define your identity. Do not let temporary failure become a permanent belief. You are not your worst day. You are not your last mistake. You are not your current level. You are your decisions moving forward. The battlefield will never disappear. Your mind will always test you. There will always be resistance. There will always be temptation. There will always be comfort calling. But over time, your response becomes automatic. Discipline becomes instinct. Focus becomes natural. Execution becomes identity. And that is when the war shifts. At first, it feels like survival. Later, it feels like control. Eventually, it feels like dominance. Dominance is not over others, but over yourself, over your impulses, over your distractions, over your excuses. When you master your mind, everything else becomes easier because the hardest opponent was always inside. You do not need to defeat the world. You need to defeat the version of you that quits, the version that hesitates, the version that negotiates, the version that fears discomfort. And every day, you get a chance to win. Win the morning, win the workout, win the focus session, win the decision. Small victories stacked daily, because mental warfare is not one battle. It is a daily combat, and daily victory builds unstoppable momentum. The war never fully ends, but you become stronger, calmer, more decisive, more aware, more disciplined. And one day, the voice that once said, "Quit," becomes quiet. The voice that once doubted becomes distant. The voice that once feared becomes small, because you trained something stronger: your command, your standard, your discipline, your identity. The battlefield was never outside. It was inside. And now you control it. Win the war in your mind, and the world will follow. There comes a point where motivation is no longer enough, where discipline alone, it is not enough, where effort without direction becomes exhaustion. That is where self-mastery begins. Self-mastery is not about doing more. It is about controlling more, controlling your thoughts, controlling your actions, controlling your reactions, controlling your direction. Because if you cannot control yourself, you cannot control your life. Most people try to change outcomes. They chase results. They chase success. They chase recognition. But they ignore the system that creates those results. That system is you. Self-mastery means you become the system. You don't wait for the perfect mood. You create action in any mood. You don't depend on energy. You generate discipline regardless of energy. You don't rely on external pressure. You operate from internal command. Self-mastery starts with awareness. You must see yourself clearly, your habits, your patterns, your weaknesses, your triggers, your excuses, your cycles. Most people avoid this step because awareness reveals truth, and truth is uncomfortable. You will see where you procrastinate. Where do you lie to yourself? Where are you delayed? Where did you quit early? Where you lack control? But that awareness is power, because what you can see, you can change. The next step is control. Not control of everything. Control of yourself. Control of your morning. Control of your time. Control of your attention. Control of your focus. Control of your reactions. Most people are reactive. They react to notifications. They react to emotions. They react to circumstances. They react to other people. But self-mastery requires intention. You act because you decide, not because something triggered you. You choose your schedule. You choose your focus. You choose your response. You choose your effort. That choice builds power. The third step is structure, because control without structure fails. You need systems, daily systems, simple systems, repeatable systems. Wake up at the same time, work at the same time, train at the same time, think at the same time, reflect at the same time. Repetition creates stability. Stability creates discipline. Discipline creates identity. And identity creates results. Self-mastery also requires elimination. You must remove what weakens you: distractions, bad habits, negative inputs, time-wasting patterns, energy leaks, because growth is not only about adding, it is about removing. Remove what drains you. Keep what builds you. Your environment matters because your environment influences your behavior. If your space is chaotic, your mind becomes chaotic. If your inputs are weak, your thoughts become weak. If your circle lacks discipline, your standards drop. So, design your environment, clean your space, control your inputs, choose your influences carefully. Self-mastery is also energy management, not just time. Energy. You must understand when you are sharp, when you are tired, when you are focused, when you are distracted. Then align your hardest work with your strongest energy, because working hard in low energy creates frustration. Working smart in high energy creates progress. Self-mastery also requires emotional intelligence. You must understand your emotions without being controlled by them. Anger will come. Frustration will come. Doubt will come. Fear will come. But emotion is temporary. Action is permanent. You can feel fear and still act. You can feel doubt and still execute. You can feel tired and still move. That separation is mastery. Self-mastery also means delayed gratification. Doing what is hard now for a better future later. Choosing work over distraction. Choosing discipline over comfort. Choosing growth over pleasure. This is not easy, because your brain prefers reward now, but mastery prefers reward later, and that shift changes everything. Another part of self-mastery is focus, deep focus, undistracted focus. Most people work with half attention, phone nearby, notifications active, mind scattered, but mastery requires full presence, full attention, full engagement. Even 1 hour of deep focus is more powerful than 5 hours of distraction. Protect your focus, guard it, train it. Self-mastery also includes recovery, Because constant pressure breaks you. You need rest. You need silence. You need stillness. You need reflection, not to escape, but to reset. Because a sharp mind, it is a powerful mind. Self-mastery also requires accountability. You must hold yourself responsible. No excuses, no blame, no justification. If you fail, you own it. If you delay, you own it. If you break discipline, you own it. Ownership builds control. Control builds power. Self-mastery is not perfection. You will slip. You will fail. You will struggle. But mastery is in returning quickly, resetting fast, continuing immediately. No long breaks, no emotional collapse, no giving up, just an adjustment and continuation. Self-mastery is also identity. You must decide who you are, not what you want. Who you are. Are you disciplined? Are you focused? Are you consistent? Are you reliable? Then act like it daily, because identity is not declared. It is proven. Self-mastery also removes noise. You stop comparing. You stop seeking validation. You stop chasing attention because your focus is internal. Your standard is internal. Your drive is internal. And that independence makes you unstoppable. You no longer need hype. You no longer need approval. You no longer need an external push. You operate from within. That is rare. Self-mastery builds calm confidence, not loud confidence. Do not show off confidence. Quiet certainty, stable presence, unshakable mindset. You walk differently. You think differently. You respond differently because you are in control. And when you are in control, everything else becomes easier. The world may be chaotic, but you are stable. The world may be noisy, but you are focused. The world may be distracted, but you are disciplined. That contrast creates power. In the end, self-mastery is freedom. Freedom from distraction, freedom from weakness, freedom from emotional chaos, freedom from inconsistency. And that freedom allows you to build anything. So build yourself first. Control yourself first. Master yourself first. Because once you do, the world becomes your playground.